What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. In today's episode, overall, I want to talk on something that I am extremely familiar with, something that I can go on day and night about. For the high schoolers, for the grown adults, for the elderly. Like, if you getting your heart broken at an elderly age, I'm like, hey, yo, something ain't right. Like, nah, fam. Like, but just don't think like something ain't right with you. Like, no, something ain't right with that person. Like, something, like, my thing is like, y'all are at like an elderly age. Like, hey, yo, give, like, y'all 70 some years old, give homeboy a chance. Like, he can use it, okay? But anyways, but no, that's what today's episode is gonna be about. How to deal with a heartbreak, 2021 edition. I might have done like previous episodes in the past. I'm going through like all my episodes on my YouTube channel because I had recently gotten into posting the older episodes onto on the YouTube channel for my podcast. So I know, like, last March is creeping up on me, and last March, like, that's at that time, like, that's when I had like my heart broken. I'm like, I hope that it was the last time that crap will ever happen, because I really just don't want to go through. See, that's the type of stuff, like, I can tell you guys right now, like, a side effect with like having your heart broken is trust issues. Like, there will be people, like, so whoever you are, man, woman, when somebody, like, even if they're just trying to befriend you, like, you're gonna have trust issues. Like, that's one thing that I've discovered with myself, like, after, because I remember this happened to me back in high school where I had my heart broken by a girl. And it was one of those things where I'm like, nah, like, I really don't want to be talking to anybody, like, even people that I was already cool with prior before this girl. Like, I was like, nah, I just really wanted to distance myself. And the second time around when it happened, like, I didn't, I went down a different route. I wanted to overall, just ask other people, for advice and for help, because to tell y'all the truth, mentally, I did not know where I was going. And I didn't want to do anything dramatic or crazy. I'm not saying that I would, but that's the thing. Like, you can't really like see into the future. Like, I know I won't do anything dramatic or crazy, but you hear like stories and situations where a person will say some stuff like that, and then next thing you know, something dramatic or crazy then happens. So anyways, yeah, I'm like, I can't really see into the future, but I'm like, I know right now, currently, I won't do anything dramatic or crazy, but I'm like, when you're so hurt and things, like, are you really thinking at that point in time? Like, no, I can tell y'all right now, like, both times back when I was in high school and last year, I was not thinking at all. And that's another thing where I'm like, maybe it's just me. It could be many people that feel this way, but it's like I always feel embarrassed when I tell somebody like, "Oh, I'm," because my thing is like, this is like high school stuff, but I'm like, you can really fall in love at any given point in time. Like, that's something that I'm like, trying to realize and understand. But yeah, I'm like, I've always felt embarrassed, like, when I tell like somebody, like, tell one of my friends, they ask me like, "Oh, you seeing somebody, talking to somebody?" And I'm just like, I'm in love. Like, man, it's just, that type of stuff. Like, I can't. And then, when the situation doesn't go as planned, then it's like you sitting there, like, your friends are trying to figure out, like, hey, why are you crying listening to Marvin Room by Drake? Like, what's wrong with you right now? Like, you should know, like, by then, like, oh, something ain't right. But no, like, that's the one thing about like heartbreaks, is that it makes, when I see somebody else dealing with it just makes me, like, try to help that person out, because I'm like, look, I've been in your shoes before. It ain't a good feeling. It is not a good feeling at all. Like, I had to say, like, a good portion of my friends have dealt with like heartbreaks and stuff. And yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, I do my best to be there for them, because I'm like, I've been in your shoes. It ain't fun. It is not fun at all. So pretty much, like, so like, just, I'm pretty much be going over everything I can go over and stuff with like heartbreaks and things. I feel like that was just like a little quick summary. I was like kind of like going in, but like between giving y'all a summary and trying to start it, but I didn't really know what I was heading into. But no, this is now officially starting the episode to let y'all know, like, okay, like, this is what's gonna happen, this is what you need to do, and just pray and hope for the best in the future and stuff. But anyways, So to just tell y'all my own personal experience, let me just tell y'all like how it went down in high school. So there was this girl, madly in love with her. Man, I'm telling you, this was the girl I was like, I always wanted to hang out. Like, it could have came down to the bros and her, like, cause so at my school we had like a different like lunch period thing. So we had like first lunch, second lunch, third lunch. If the bros was in overall, like that was some cases and things like prior before, but if the bros was there during lunch, the dudes, I'm all like, hey, we can have any conversation, have the most amount of fun, all that stuff. If it's them versus her, I'm hanging out with her. I'm sorry, but I'm like, that's why I'm like, you got pushed a bit, like, then had shared memories with these guys. I went on bike rides with these guys. Then, like, I know for a fact, like, we gonna be like freaking 50, 60 years old still being friends. But just this one time opportunity, I'm like, I need to know for sure, like, is this gonna be the wife that I'm like, bringing with me and stuff while I'm being friends with these guys while I'm 50, 60 years old and stuff. But anyways, so I think I might have talked on this before, but to just give y'all a quick summary. So she was overall seeing somebody, and I didn't know that, and I found out the hard way. I found out by actually seeing her with this individual, and oh yes, I cried. Like, bro, oh my god, like, man, you guys probably think I'm crazy now for laughing about something like that, but no, it's something where I'm like, I moved on. Like, I don't even talk to the girl anymore. Like, she went her way, I went my way, we good. All right. So, but anyways, but no, I found out the hard way, seen her with another guy. And whole day, I don't really, that day was a blur. But when I got home, like, I remember that when I remember that well. The rest of the day I don't remember. But no, I just remember like crying my eyes out. Overall, just I changed, like, as a person. I felt myself change. And that's one thing to like kind of like talk on that and things, like, because I had to say that I feel like I did kind of deal with like some sort of like case of depression, because I'm like, I was just like happy, laughing, going around making everybody like laugh, which I was still doing, but it just felt different. It didn't feel the same. It didn't feel authentic. It just felt like I would say something and that person would laugh, and I'm like, oh, I guess that was funny. But back then, like, no, I would be like, I would purposely do stuff. I'm like, no, you're going to laugh. Like, but now I'm like, if they don't laugh, they don't laugh. If they do, they do. I don't really care. So, but anyways, but no, I do feel like that did kind of deal with like some sort of, depression and things. But anyways, but yeah, I was all like, I was out of it. Like, I was out. But no, that's what I was saying. Like, when they tell you like, oh, you wasn't depressed, you was just sad. Like, and it's because like, oh, you need to be diagnosed by a doctor in order to be depressed. Like, my thing, and I've said this before, if I look at my arm and my arm is like twisted, bent, broken, like I can see the bone protruding out my arm, I'm not going to wait until I get the doctor's approval that my arm is broken. No, I can clearly see for myself that my arm is broken. Like, you ain't gonna tell me about my body and what's going on in me and stuff. Like, that's one thing I hate. Like, when people, they tell you, oh, you need a doctor's approval, but they're no doctors themselves. Please don't talk to me. Please do not say nothing to me. If you're no doctor, don't tell me anything about a doctor's approval and crap. But anyways, but no, I was dealing with some sort of like, case of depression and things. It, family, friends, like a lot of people was noticing like something wasn't right with me. And I was just, trying my hardest. It got to the point where I was like, okay, I had to like, get back to like somewhat of who I am and things. But that's one thing for sure, is that afterwards, like, I had like trust issues with people, like I had trust issues with my friends. I have trust issues with like a woman that I'm interested in, because I really don't know what's gonna happen. And I really don't, my thing is that like, I can't really, I can say like, I don't really handle like rejection too well, because it's somewhere I'm like, it ain't like it's like a one or like one time, two time. I've been like, no, I've been rejected a lot. Like, fam, like I'm on some like Screech Powers type stuff. Rest in peace to Screech, the actor that played this him. But no, for sure though, like I'm on some Screech Powers type stuff. Like, I've been rejected a lot. Like, that's something I'm like, because here's the thing, like, I was always like embarrassed to really like talk about that side of my life. But there was at some points in times like where I would like, meet a woman and things, but it was just like, it was always like something just didn't feel right. And I think that's why it's like, the trust issues. Like, I didn't really trust the situation because I'm like, well, dang, what if because my thing is also is that I overthink too much. So I don't want to really get into this and then end up getting my heart broken or some crap. And I'm like, I'm not equipped for it because I'm like, if this happened, if I feel this way and I wasn't even with the girl, imagine if I'm like in the relationship, I have all this love for her, and then I get my heart broken then. Like that type of stuff, like I've never been in a situation like that before. So that's why I'm like, I don't really want to. Like I need to know, like, hey, do you feel the same way? Do you feel the same way about me like I do you? Because if so, we got something here. But if not, then I'm like, hey, look, like it's not you. Like, no, this is like a it's not you, it's me situation. Like, I have trust issues, so I'm sorry. But, I don't want like an on and off relationship. I don't want like a relationship where I don't want to be a person where I'm like in a lot of relationships. I want like just one like long like, lifetime relationship, not long lasting, because I'm like, then you make it seem like that's gonna end at some point in time. Like, no, I just want like a lifetime relationship. Like I want like her to, like I'm her, like I'm the like, or she's the final face I see before I leave this world. Like pretty much on some stuff like that. I know there gonna probably be a lot of women on like, oh, that's so sweet. Like, no, like I'm saying that, but I'm like, no, I want that. Like that's something that I truly do want. Cause I'm like, no, I'm not like really a big like dating person. Like I'm not into dating apps. I'm not into, hookups and all that stuff. Like I'm just like, nah, man. I don't know. I'm an old fashioned person, I guess. I'm like, I just want to like really just meet that girl and then just marry her, have a family, move into some nice place, and then just live out my life. But I'm not that type of person, where I'm like, I gotta date around and all that. I'm not into that. That's doing too much. And because I'm like, that type of stuff to me is like awkward. And it's like, you're on a date with another person, and it's all like, oh, you took me to this same restaurant when we went on our first date. And I'm like, well, here we go. So I'm like, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I overthink. Like, that's the type of stuff that I think about. Like, I always think, like, okay, what's going to be the outcome of this story? What's going to be the outcome of this? And I'm like, that's just to me. I'm like, I think, like I said, I think too much. So, but anyways, but back on this situation, first situation. So, yeah, trust issues kicked in. There is this one girl I do feel like that, something. She's like, I think that girl's like married now. She got like kids and stuff. But I do think that she did kind of like me because I was like, I kind of like sensed it, but the trust issues kicked in, and I was like, man, it's a situation where I'm like, dang, like like I just let a good girl go, like like this probably would have went somewhere. This probably would have been the life that I wanted, but no, I'm like nervous Tyler, sweat a lot Tyler. What else? Having trust issues Tyler. Like he was, he wasn't really seeing all of that at the time. Like he was just, at a younger point in time in my life, like I was nervous. I had to say I'm not so much as nervous now. I just got trust issues, but I'm like, hey, if something happens, then something happens. But other than that, I'm like, I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm confused on a lot of this stuff. Yeah, well, I'm not confused, but I'm just more so like I just don't know what's gonna happen next. So I'm like, that's why I'm kind of hesitant about things nowadays. But anyways, and then second time around, which was exactly a year ago, that would probably be like, I felt like that situation was like 10 times worse because this time around it was like, I didn't really like, I don't know, with that first girl, I didn't really like, I don't know, like I guess like I didn't really pay attention too much to the future with her. But it was like, it was more so just trying to see like where the relationship would go, like if we did get into one. But I was like, with the second girl around, I was like, oh yeah, I seen the future. I was imagining futures. I'll be like that. Honestly, it would be like some of the stuff like to just really. I guess if this is weird, go ahead and say what you want to say about it. But I'm like, this is going in my mind. But I was like, I would legit be on the bus, like heading home from work, sitting down thinking about like the future me and this girl can potentially have. And then I'll just go to sleep, wake up, and I'm like, man, I feel good. Like I straight up feel happy right now. Get the text in, talking to her and stuff, and hanging out with her, and it was something where I was just like, I don't like that's something I'm like, I don't even like really know if she would pay attention to that, but there'd be at times I'm just like looking at her, I'm like, man, you just don't know how I feel right now, but Yeah, I wish he did. I just wish people can like see, cuz I'm like it's one thing when you tell a person like how you feel, but they don't know exactly how you feel. Like they're not feeling that feeling and stuff, if that makes sense to y'all. But anyways, but no, same scenario. Found out she was in a relationship, so yeah, I broke down. And that was like the first time in years. And it was like the last time I remember I had cried. It was like I think it was in 2015, I think, because I just there was some family I thought that was going to be homeless. I really didn't want to be homeless, and I was like, man, I wish I was in a situation where I could help out people, but I couldn't. And so I remember that was like the last time I cried was overall in 2015. And then I just had to pretty much erase all those days and write down zero, because then there was a freaking what kind of day was it? I can't remember if it was like sunny or cold or I don't know, but it was just a random day in March. And yep, had to erase all them numbers, put down zero, and then just let out my cry, because man, that was something I was like, I hate. That's one thing where it's like, it wasn't even, like, I've been rejected and stuff, but it's like that type of rejection, like, where it's like, you don't even, like, you don't even hear, like, the rejection. You see it. Like, well, it wasn't even something that I had seen. Like, it was something that the girl had told me, and that's how I was all like, oh, well, for sure she is in a relationship. I'm like, dang, all right, well, so yeah, I pretty much like, and then it was crazy. Like what she told me, like immediately has shut me down. Immediately has shut me down. That was something where I was all like, it's pretty much in a situation where like a person, like how like they always say like a person is just full of like light or life or something like that. Like more so light. Like if I can use an example, like a person just has like a light about them. With me, that light was immediately like I did not pay the light bill, shut down. Like oh my god, like man, the fact that I'm able to like laugh and talk about it today, like a year ago, no, I wouldn't even wanted to talk about it. I didn't really want to talk about it like with friends and stuff. But I did have to like reach out to some friends and just ask them like, hey, can I talk to you real quick, because currently right now I am in a state of mind where I'm like, I just don't really care anymore. Like, and that's the thing where I'm like, don't think along those lines. Like, like if like to get, I feel like I'm like telling y'all like my story, but it's just like, use it as motivation and stuff, use it. Like all the things that I'm saying that I did, don't do that. Don't cry, don't get angry, don't get mad. Don't have like an ill feeling, don't have like a mindset, that's going to lead you into trouble. But yeah, I had a mindset that probably would have eventually led me into trouble. But it was like, thank God, like I, dropped that mindset and stuff and moved on. But it was a process, and it's still a process still till this day. Like even like today, like thinking how it's like, because that's one thing that a lot of people have been saying, like it's been like a year since this pandemic has started. Like it's officially been a year since like the shutdowns, all of that stuff has all started. And then it just brings me back, like it's kind of like of a traumatizing like situation where it brings me back to everybody is like losing their jobs, dealing with COVID, buying up toilet paper, paper towels, and hand sanitizer, and I'm in my room crying my eyes out. Like it was one of those things where I'm like, bruh, like, and then it was just going out and about and things, because there still was like things I was doing and stuff before like the shutdowns officially like took into place. But I do remember like I was just a very very dark soul. Like it was one of those things where I'm like, bruh, like I hope and pray like nothing bad happens to me, because I was like the mindset that I had. I was like, dang man. It's like I never was in a state of mind like that. I wouldn't say that I wasn't gonna do like anything that was like life ending, but I definitely would have been. I probably have been like a life threatening like individual and stuff. Like more so with myself, like, but not like ending. I don't know how to like really place it in words. All I just know is that I'm not in that mindset anymore. Thank God. But yeah, it's like heartbreaks, man. It's one of those things where it's like it's no joke. You can't look at a person and be like, oh, suck it up, be a soldier, be a man about it, or be a a strong person about it and things. Like you can't. You can't. Like, it's a situation where it says you just can't. Like, as many times as people, because I'm like, unless you've been in my shoes before, and like, if you've been in my shoes multiple times, then I'm like, okay, then I would look at you for advice. But I'm like, if you've been in a heartbreaking situation, but you're obviously not handling, you didn't handle it like how I'm handling mine's, like, you can't relate. You can't. That's why I'm like, people that's, that even with people that was trying to like help me and things, like, I, overall, like, I appreciate them for like, reaching out and helping me. But it was one of those things where I guess like I was just so caught up in my feelings. I'm like, they don't understand, they don't know. And I'm like, like, what do I, what do I do? What do I tell them and stuff? So, yeah, I was like, for the most part, I just, I was like, okay, let me just keep to myself, get all the like advice and information I need to get out of everybody and things. And so pretty much use my friends. I apologize to everybody that I use. Like, hey, like, if there's ever a point in time you need when you need somebody to talk to, I'm here for you guys. But yeah, it was a situation where I was all like, I really needed to just take some time to myself and just like stop with the crying stuff. I was like, man, that crying stuff was really going to be the death of me. I was like, that's one thing where I was like, that I was really afraid of, because I, like, with a heartbreak, like, you just expect you to just be like really sad and crying and your mind not being right. But I legit like felt a pain in my heart. Like, I felt like my heart had felt numb. Like, I can like legit like feel the outline of my heart, like, if that makes sense. Like, I guess like I ain't trying to sound weird or crazy or anything, but it was like I can legit like feel my heart feeling different. Like that type of stuff, bro. I'm saying like that's crazy. I know the girl that's probably hearing, if whoever, well, yeah, the girl that I am talking about, I ain't gonna like name drop or do any of that, but yeah, she might potentially hear this one day and be like, oh, he still ain't over it. It's like, I'm like, if I had to say like where am I mentally with it and things, I'm no longer crying and I'm no longer sad about it. Like, I guess like if I do think about it a little bit too much, then I'm like, all right, well, my remedy is just to, overwork myself and just, forget about the situation. But if I had to say where am I, it's probably like a 50-50 thing. Like, the 50 where it's like positive and good, where I'm like, okay, I ain't thinking about it. I'm like, I'm so like active and getting things done. But then the other 50 where I'm like sitting down thinking about it, I'm like laying around being all sad and stuff, like, dang, like, I wish something could have happened, but it's not, and I know it's not, and it's one of those things where I'm like, I just have to, move on and stop thinking that, everybody is like, not more so that people are out to get me, but out to hurt me, because I'm like, I know that's not everybody's intentions, but that's what's going through my mind right now. That's what happens when your mind gets the best of you. So until I actually get like the love that a person deserves and stuff, then until then I'm like, I really don't know where I'm gonna be at with a love life and things. I'm probably, and that's one thing where I'm all like, where I sat down and I thought of it, like, when YouTube takes off and then I'm just overall, living my life like somewhere, I always had this vision, like, I'm gonna be in this nice house by myself, literally like looking at like a waterfront, and I'm like, and the feeling that I'm having where I'm like all sad and depressed, like, I'm gonna have that feeling. And I don't know, like, and that's the thing where I'm like, I don't know the future and I don't know what the future holds for me, but that's like a vision that I have, and I have it like so well, when I'm just like looking at like this beautiful waterfront, but I'm by myself. Like, I can't even imagine a person, like, to make myself feel better, I can't even imagine a person there next to me, whether it's friends or even if it's like a group of friends where it's like we all just like, they're just chilling and stuff. Like, I still can't, like, be happy and things. And so that's what I'm like, man, the day where I feel like that happiness again, like, to whoever that girl is that brings that out of me, like, oh, she's gonna be in for a treat. Like, definitely, hands down, 100%. She's gonna be like, what did I do to deserve this? I'm like, no, you made me happy again. Like, that's what you did to deserve this. So that's one thing that you just gotta look forward to. It's like, one day you will be happy. Like, don't think for a second it's like, oh, your happiness is gone because that person took all that happiness from you. Like, they might have taken some, like, but they ain't gonna take all of it. Like, that's, I'm all like, however your happiness, like, how big it is. Your happiness can be big, it can be small, but it's never going to fit into a person's like hand. It ain't gonna be the right fit for it. So I'm like, the day when you do find that right fit, the day where you do find like that person and things, like, oh yeah, you gonna feel it. Like, you gonna feel it and stuff. So I can't wait for that day. I really don't know when that day is gonna happen, but yeah, man, I'm like, it's one of those things where I'm like, bro, I wish it would be soon. Like, I'm like looking at my clock, like, dang, when is it gonna happen? Cause I'm like, this whole like sitting around being sad stuff at times. Like, I'm not sad now, but you know, kind of like talking about it, I guess it was like a little bit helpful in things. Cause today it just, you know, it was like kind of like a traumatizing day, like overall, like, cause then also it was another day too where I was kind of thinking about it, and I was gonna like go out and do some stuff, but I'm like, you know what, nah, I just ain't got the time or energy for it. So that's something that I gotta like shake off, and that's something where I'm like, I gotta like drop that and, you know, let it go and just move on with my life. Like fully move on, like fully, completely, 100%, like, you know, walking away, like not even walking away, like legit getting into a Bugatti and doing 267 miles per hour away from the situation, like to make sure I don't see it, to make sure it's just gone completely. Like, that's what you gotta aim for it in life, where it's like you gotta like make sure like your heartbreak, it's like it's behind you. Like, you know, it's like you are not looking at it, you are looking in what's ahead of you, and you are just gassing it into like the next situation. And if it don't work out, just make sure you still got your car and drive, okay? Don't park. Don't just, you know, sit there and like smell the roses and stuff. Like, no, put it in drive, let it just be on cruise control, sniff a little bit. If you don't smell anything that you like, keep it driving. All right, so, but anyway, it's a plane outside. I was all like, I'm like, what's going on out there? But anyways, but yeah, overall, how to deal with a heartbreak. Just know that it's like, it ain't gonna be forever. You know, me telling my story, like, I hope it kind of just helped y'all like know that it's like, maybe if you did tell your story, that can also help with it. Write it down, get a journal, or do a podcast or a YouTube video, something to just, you know, really get your like, you know, get it out of your system and things, because that's always good too. But yeah, just know, like, you know, that stuff don't last forever. It's at one point in time, it's gonna be like, dang, like I was in a situation like that. But anyways, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching. I'll probably do a part two. I feel like if I did leave out anything, then I will add some stuff to it. Maybe I should like start doing that, like when I do episodes like this, like write some things down and stuff, or write a bunch of stuff down. But excuse me. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and or listening. If you're viewing this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're viewing this on a podcast streaming service, make sure you follow or subscribe, however it's set up. And yeah, if you are purchasing, oh wait a second, I have not done that promo in so long. The SeatGeek promo. I know things are starting to open back up, so I might have to start doing my SeatGeek promo again. But anyways, yeah, I got a SeatGeek promo. You type up my code TMossBoss. It should not. What was it? I think it was like $20. I think it was. But anyways, yeah. Talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Oh, that was loud. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and peace. Oh yeah, and subscribe to all of my YouTube channels. I got 30. Follow me on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, TMossBoss. And yeah, talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and peace.